another video. But today's video we're going to talk about plastic surgery, and I'm going to talk about my journey with plastic surgery. I had a mommy makeover. Hi guys, welcome back to the Taurus Mix. Happy New Year's! I want to thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. We almost up to 1,400 subscribers. I am so grateful to you guys. Continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to talk about plastic surgery. Don't mind, it's January and I still got my tree up, you guys. I'm still enjoying my tree. You know, according to man, that's when you're supposed to take the tree down, but I'm going to take it down when I get ready. Now, most of the time what I do, you guys, is I put hearts on my tree. So I keep it up throughout the month of February as well sometimes. So you might see that in another video. But today's video, we're going to talk about plastic surgery. And I'm going to talk about my journey with plastic surgery. On May the 10th, 2021, I had a mommy makeover. That means I had a muscle repair. I had a tummy tuck. I had liposuction of my stomach, my flanks, which is my sides, and my back, and my arms. And I also had a breast lift. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm loving my new look. And it's been some time. This happened in 2021. And one thing that I do not do is lie to people. Oh, they be like, oh, I love your shape, you this, and that. And I tell them what I had done. Because I am a mother of 3 girls. I had 3 C-sections. And I always wanted to have surgery to improve on how I felt about myself. Not for society, not for a man, but for myself. And plus, having a C-section, I had a little loose skin at the bottom of my stomach, which caused me to have a lot of irritation underneath my stomach. So those are some things that I want to do. I also breastfed 2 of my children, one of them for 15 months. And you know, when you get pregnant and when you breastfeed, there's a significant decrease in the volume of your breast and all of those things. So I waited till my children was grown. I saved my money. And I also waited till I got a little older. So I didn't do it in my 20s. I didn't do it in my 30s. I did it in my late 40s. And I could say that it was the best decision I made for myself. And what I want to talk to you guys about is safety. As far as what you need to do. I'm not going to bash or shame anybody who feel like they want to take their route to make some improvements on some things that they want to improve on their body. But I want you guys to do it the safe way. So in this video, you're going to see me look down some because I've written myself out some notes. And this is going to be probably a 2-part video, because in this video, we're going to talk about the research. We're going to talk about the consultation. We're going to talk about the prep. We're going to talk about surgery day and post-surgery. And some of the things that I went through to my journey that I feel was successful. And another thing is, I want you guys to know that when you go through this journey, don't spend all your money and don't take care of that. I say take care of what you spent your money on. It's a continuous process. It's something that you got to maintain. It may look like it's overnight, but if you don't maintain it, you could be back in the same boat. So again, I had my surgery on May the 10th, 2021. And it was 9 days before my 49th birthday. So let's get into it. So when I started this journey and I decided what I want to have surgery on, at first it didn't involve the breast surgery. The breast lift. I had not thought about that until later when I decided to go with another doctor. But my first experience was I contacted somebody from Mia Surgical Center in Florida. And I had a consultation over the phone with them. And they told me all what I had to do, the preparations and the paperwork. But it was a lot involved. So with Mia, I had a phone call. I had to send in pictures. I didn't know who I was talking to. A lot of the people that I talked to, they didn't really speak English that well. And I had to pay a $500 deposit. And I had to get on this website that was set up in my name. And I could pay over time until the date of my surgery. But I was running into some major issues. And I promise you, this story will let you know that when God is for you, who can be against you? And God was on my side. Because even though I'd done my research, I picked out the doctor that I wanted. And a lot of things that I looked at, how many surgeries did this person have? Was they board certified? Right? And I also looked up the statistics as far as deaths, because during that time they were having a lot of people dying from plastic surgery in Florida, and they're still having a lot of people that's dying from plastic surgery. So I never saw a person. I was set up on this website, and you know, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, so I had to make all these plans. And when it was getting close, after I paid all my money, and when it was getting close to time for me to have surgery, I had to have all these tests done, which I had to have like a heart test done. I had to have blood work for any type of diseases, any type of health issues, diabetes, low iron or whatever. And for some reason, I was all prepped to go to Mia to have surgery. And every time I would go and get my paperwork done, my blood count would be low. My iron would be low, you guys. And I have two types of anemia, and I have a sickle cell trait. So for some reason, I was working on this iron, and I could never get it to their standards. But during this process, I had to get a plane ticket, get my paperwork done, those tests done. If you smoked or on drugs, your test had to be negative, which I wasn't on drugs or anything. I didn't have any diseases or anything, but I did smoke, so I had to quit smoking and all of that stuff. But for some reason, I could not get my iron up. Now, when I prepped for the surgery to go to Florida, I had to go to a recovery house. So I had to find someone to actually take me to the surgery, pick me up, get my meds and all that. So I found a recovery home. I also had to hire somebody to do my lymphatic massages. And all this stuff was added up. And I can only be in Florida for a so length of time. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this part of the Mia process and what happened. So to have a tummy tuck with a muscle repair and some lipo, it was going to cost me $6,000, right? I paid my $500 deposit, but towards the end, I did pay all the money. I paid the $6,000. I had to do the clearance form, which my form, everything was clear, but my iron level was still low. So that was stopping me. And I want to go back and talk about this. When you're planning to have surgery, you got to make sure you are the weight that you want to be. You can't go in there, say your BMI They don't do surgery on people with high BMI. Even though my BMI was not high, during the process of me paying them over time to set up a surgery date, I started exercising and started doing things to get to the weight that I wanted to be. So once I was at the weight that I wanted to be, everything else that they did will only enhance how I will look later. So make sure that you are the weight that you want to be before you have surgery. You can't go in there big and think the surgery is going to fix everything. That's not how it works. Your results will not be the same. So I finished paying them, and like I said, my clearance form, everything was good but my iron. Then I also paid $1,200, was to pay $1,200 for a recovery house for 5 days. My lymphatic massages, which I was scheduled for 5 of them, would have been $800. My flight was $645. My recovery equipment, like what I need to wear, everything that I needed to aid me in my recovery process, from clothing to faja, for all of those things, was $1,100. The medication that I was going to receive to prevent blood clots and for pain medication probably was going to be $300. Extra faja, because the one that they put you in, eventually you go down to another size, would have been $200. So my total with Mill Surgery Center would have been $10,395. But all of that stuff had to be put on hold because of my iron level. I could not get my iron up. So we kept putting my surgery off and putting my surgery off. And all of a sudden I said, maybe it's God trying to tell me something. So I decided to recoup my money back, because you're not going to do my surgery, so give me my money back. I did pay $500 on the recovery center, and I never did get that $500 back, so I lost that $500. My plane ticket, I was able to get a credit for it and use it for something else at another later date. But I started looking into surgery centers around my area. Everybody was saying, go to Miami, go to Miami. That's the place to have your surgeries. But people fail to realize, after you have your surgery, for one, you don't meet the doctor basically a lot of times until he does the surgery, or when he marks you up the day of. Then you come back for a post-op visit, and what happens is you probably don't see the doctor then either. You don't see him no more than when he did your surgery. Thirdly, you're not there for a long period of time. So once you leave, fly back or whatever, you're on your own. And when you go to a doctor, and it's a doctor outside of the surgeon, they don't like to fool with you, say if you have some complication, unless in this life or death situation. You know, I done seen videos where women that had some complications after surgery, where they done had corrosion and different things that happen, where their incisions opened up and they had a severe infection where they had to be hospitalized. Then if you have issues, you got to send pictures to the doctor, and they always give you a lame excuse of cleaning it or whatever. So it's hard not being able to have regular contact with a doctor. So my spiel to you today is to make sure, instead of flying to Miami, unless you live in Miami, find somewhere locally that does a great job as far as having a surgery, because that way you can have regular visits with that doctor. So let's fast forward. I got my money back. Everything fell through with the Florida trip to have only a muscle repair, tummy tuck, liposuction of the flanks. That's it. That was $6,000 on top of the other expenses, which totaled up to be $10,395. So I said, okay, I'm going to move on. So I started looking at surgery centers in my area. And it was one particular surgery center, and it's face and body plastic surgery in Flowood, Mississippi, which is 15 minutes away from Jackson. That's nowhere from me. So I went on their website and I started doing my research again. And like I said, I looked for a doctor who was board certified, who specialized in the type of surgeries that I wanted. And I was also blessed that this surgeon, my aunt, who's in the medical field, knew him, and he was highly recommended as well. So what I did was, and I called and set a consultation with the surgeon. And so I went, and his name is Dr. Mansoon, but I call him Dr. Manning. My Dr. Manning is great. He does reconstructive surgery on breasts for women who had breast cancer, and he's board certified. He has the greatest bedside manner. So I went in for a consultation with him. So when I went in, and he looked at my body, so that don't mean that I went over the phone and sent them pictures. I met him during my consultation. He looked at my body, and we discussed what I wanted done. So when I was going to Florida, I just wanted muscle repair, tummy tuck, and lipo, right? But when I got to him, I said, I want to get my breast done as well. So with him, I decided that I wanted a muscle repair. I wanted a tummy tuck. I wanted my flanks, which is my side, liposuction, my stomach, my back, and my arms, and I wanted a breast lift. He asked me, because I already had small breasts, did I want breast implants? I said, no, I just want a breast lift. And he was like, they're going to be small. I said, well, they always been small, and I'm good with that. And so we had the consultation, and I was given a price. And I also told him about my experience with Mia and about my blood count. So, looking at my list, so I went in. I paid a down payment, and we scheduled my surgery. And before, like a week or two before I had surgery, I had to pay the remaining balance. Now, with Dr. Mansoon at Face and Body Surgical Center in Flowood, Mississippi, if you in Mississippi or Jackson area, metro area, that's the best doctor. I vouch for him hands down. And you guys, I'm going to put pictures of certain things within the video that I do have, because like I said, this occurred almost 4 years ago. So my surgery with Dr. Mansoon would have been $16,600. Plus, for my equipment was still $1,100. Now, yes, I went over almost $7,000, but you get what you pay for. And I could have went to Florida, had this surgery, had all these different complications, and ended up spending more money and didn't get the proper care that I got with Dr. Mansoon. So that was the total of my surgery. So the surgery was $16,600. That's including all the medical supplies, the anesthesia, and that also include my muscle repair, tummy tuck, lipos of the stomach, the back, the flanks, and the arms, and the breast lift. And with my surgery with Mia, even though it was $10,000, I did not have the breast lift included, and it also did not include lipo to my stomach and back. It only included lipo to my flanks. So that's another reason why it was more expensive, because I had other areas liposuction, and I also had a breast lift as well. So we may not have two videos, but I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. So once again, my prep for my surgery, I focused on weight loss. I worked out. I did my due diligence because I want to be as small as possible when I had my surgery to get the best results. Once again, don't think that you can go in there and you're going to come out snatched, as they say, to the gods, but you did not do something on the front end. Your nutrition has to change. You got to be more active. You got to exercise, and you got to be more body conscious. All the other things still applied, but he was able to still work with me. My iron wasn't extremely low, but it was border, which he could deal with and he could work with to make sure I still was able to have surgery and have the best outcome. So on surgery day, or the day before surgery, I took a bath in the Dial soap, the Gold Dial soap, the antibacterial soap. Then I followed it up with the Hibba Cleanse. On the day of surgery, I wore some underwear. I didn't wear a bra. I wore a gown that buttoned up in the front or zipped up in the front, and my house coat and my house shoes and my compression socks. So on the day of surgery, you cannot have any jewelry, any contacts. You got a nose ring, a tongue piercing, whatever. You need to take that stuff off. You can't have on any false nails, no polish or anything. Practically, you going in there clean but rusty. So you really rusty when you go in there. So when I got prepped for surgery, I got my IV. Dr. Mansoon came in and talked to me again to verify the things that we were going to have done, which he did. I went in, my husband went with me. I had my surgery and I came out of surgery, and I'm not going to lie, you guys, I was in a lot of pain. I end up with 2 drains at the bottom of my pelvic area near my vagina area. 2 drains for the drain the excess fluid and blood off of my stomach. I went home that day in the car. My husband got my medication. So once I took my medication, I was out like a light, and I started feeling a lot better. Once I woke up, Dr. Mansoon gave my husband his personal number, and he called within 2 hours of me being home. Let's flash back to Mill. The only time you will get to see the surgeon is when he come in there and mark you up and take you back. After that, you don't see him no more. Dr. Mansoon had the best bedside manner imaginable. And believe it or not, when you have a good doctor, that aids in your healing as well. Another thing, get someone that you truly trust that's going to be there for you. Because you got people that's like, even when you get married, they say, oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you do that. And when the time comes, they ghost. I so happen to have my husband, my mother-in-law, my best friend, and my aunties. They came and they checked on me. People who really care about you and love you, you're going to find out when you need them. You're going to find out those people when you need them. So I was set up. I came home. I done had 3 C-sections. So having a tummy tuck, the only difference, the muscle repair was hell. But having a tummy tuck from waist to waist, that cut is a way bigger than the C-section cut. But having that experience of being cut several times before, and the pain tolerance, I have a higher pain tolerance than most people. But they encourage you to get up and you walk around or whatever every couple of hours. Now, I tried. They had this little funnel you can buy on Amazon that you could pee in. Child, I wasn't too stable. Peed everywhere. That stuff don't work. You got to go to the bathroom or get you a pot or some type of portable toilet that you can use, because that little tunnel thing had pee everywhere. So, I urinated everywhere. So, I only used it one time, and it was a no-go. The most important part of this is that my husband, you guys, both of us, before we went to school for something else, we was in the medical field. So you remember I said that those lymphatic massages, for at least 5 of them, would cost me probably $1,100 or no, $800. All my lymphatic massages were done by my husband. All the tissue breakup that you had to do around the breast area from the surgery and around the waist, my husband was able to take care of that. So I saved $1,100 on lymphatic massages because my husband did those. I already had a nice size recliner chair in the house. So if you have a tummy tuck and a muscle repair, you're going to have to be in a reclined position. So I spent a month and a half in a recliner. It took me some time to get used to the bed. But the most important part was, other than me, once I would have flew from Florida, I wouldn't have had no follow-up medical care. That means I would have been on my own as far as my medical care. And like I said, other doctors don't like to mess with other people's work, especially if you had cosmetic surgery. I went to see Dr. Mansoon up to almost a year every week after I had surgery. He called and checked on me, and if my husband had any questions, he was a phone call away. So what you pay for is what you get. And every drop of money that I paid for my surgery, I got it in the bedside manner and the care of Dr. Mansoon. He did a marvelous job. He aided in my speedy recovery. So we talked about the prep part, the weight, the test that you have to take, but you also need to prepare. If you have a job, you want to take if you're not able to take family medical leave, which I was, I got that paperwork and had Dr. Mansoon to fill that paperwork out to give to my job. That's to secure my job where I was out on leave for being sick. Well, after my surgery, I wasn't sick, but after my surgery. A lot of people go back to work after 2 or 3 weeks. I don't see how they did that, but I was out for about 2 months, and then because of my family medical leave, I started intermittently going back to work. Because you get like 12 weeks or so with your family medical leave or more, and I was able to do that. And what I do is I type all day, and my work is not very demanding, so I was able to ease back into work. And then after my recovery, I did have a lot of a fluid pocket. Some people have where they have a pocket within the fat that contains a lot of fluid. So I did have to go and have that fluid drained. And it wasn't nothing that we did. It just was a trapped fluid. And so that helped aid in speeding up my recovery. But all of my lymphatic massages were done, thank God, by my husband. So I did save money on that end. But what I'm trying to tell you guys before I go and get into the supplies that I had to get is please, 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 please do your research. Research the doctor. Look for their qualifications. See how many surgeries they have a day, because Mill Center and all these places in Florida, they're rolling them out like assembly line. So you may have a doctor there from 6 in the morning to 7 or 8 o'clock at night doing surgeries. That's not healthy. You want to know how many surgeries he does a day. And if he does more than 1 or 2 surgeries a day, you might want to look for another doctor. And you want to be the first person that he does the surgery on. People are their freshest with their first surgeries. You know, I done seen people had some botched surgeries. They had the little dog ears. Their neighbor was not done correctly. It was just a lot of revision had to take place, and people had to spend more money. So research is important, and I thank God that everything did not work out with Mia Surgery Center, because I ended up being in the best care just 15 minutes away from where I live in Jackson, Mississippi. And Dr. Mansoon, I would recommend him. You guys, I'm going to put some pictures. Chef Kiss. I got 17-year-old breasts. I love the work he did on my abdomen and his bedside manners. If I wanted to right now, I could call him again. And I noticed a few months later, before I had my final consultation with him to make sure that I was pleased with the results of my surgery, I told him, I said, I think up here in my stomach area is still a little puffy. I think I need some more lipo. No problem. He went in. I think I only had to pay, because of the medicine or whatever, I had to pay $600. He didn't charge me for doing the procedure. And he went in there, and I was woke the whole time. My husband thinking, oh, she gonna walk out. I'm gonna have to drag her out of here like I did with surgery. I walked up out of there. The whole time he did that little area liposuction, I was woke and alert, and we was laughing and talking. So he wanted to make sure that I was pleased with my results, and anything that needed correcting, he was willing to do it. Some doctors get offended when you ask them to correct things that you don't like. They feel like you're trying to tell them how to do their job, but they fail to realize this is your body and you're paying them for a service. And so if you're not pleased with the service, they need to make the necessary corrections. So that was my journey. I'm going to go into, make sure I didn't miss anything. But eventually my post-op, I talked about it. I eventually got the drains taken out. And because I had surgery on my breast and I have this long scar across my bottom half of my abdomen, I encourage you guys to use scar scripts. You can get them on Amazon, and they silicone scar strips. And you place them along your scar lines. I place them along, and I will put pictures of it around my breast area and my abdominal area, and it helps to lighten and lessen the scar. You want to start using that type of stuff immediately. Dr. Mansoon also, which was included in my package, gave me some kind of cream to put on my scars as well. Again, make sure that you get up and walk. You don't want to set up blood clots. Make sure you follow the doctor's instructions to the T, and make sure you have the people that rally around you that's willing to take care of you, because you will find out who your true friends or family members are when you need them the most, and that's after you have surgery or when something tragic happens. So we're going to go into what I purchased for my recovery. Now, I advise you to purchase 3 to 5 gowns, because some people have a lot of bleeding, especially if you have a BBL or something, a lot of liposuction or whatever. I did not have a BBL done. Be honest, I'm really definitely afraid of BBLs. And honestly, I did not need a BBL. I was blessed to where I didn't need a BBL. The body, once I had my tummy tuck and my muscle repair and my lipo, it accentuated the already parts of my body that I was already naturally blessed with. So a BBL was not in the cards for me. So you want to get 3 to 5 zip up or button down to the front gowns. And while you wearing, keeping up your hygienes and stuff like that, you want to make sure that while you're washing 2 or 3, you still got clean garments. So you want to keep those. You want 3 to 5 breast bras. You want 3 to 5 bras, and you want those that don't have any underwear wire, especially if you have a breast lift or a breast augmentation. You want to make sure they don't have any wire up under them. And to this day, I do not wear bras with wire. They're very, very uncomfortable. And even though I have healed from my incision, anywhere where you have scars or where you done had any type of trauma to an area, anything rubbing up against it will irritate it. So make sure that you get that type of bra. And I got the ones that zip up so easily to put on and off in the front. I had some Annika bruising gel for pain and for swelling. Make sure that you're not drinking or a lot of sodas. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Make sure you're not taking in foods with a lot of salt, because it will aid in swelling, because you're going to have some swelling after surgery for a long period of time, days, weeks, or whatever after surgery. So you want to lessen that, and you want to drink pineapple juice. I know that's helpful. I drank Annika tea, and my husband also gave me protein shakes. So he was up on the nutrition part of it, because I couldn't do anything, I know, majorly for the first week or so, where I could stand for a long period of time. So it took him and others to help clean me up in the shower, help me go to the restroom, and make sure that I had something in my stomach to take when I was taking any type of pain medicine. And you want to try to wean yourself off of any pain medicine as soon as possible. A recliner. You definitely, if you have any type of muscle repair, tummy tuck, you're going to need a recliner. And like I said, for the first month and a half, I slept in a recliner. Depends. In case you have any accidents, you guys, because you kind of bent over and you're walking really slow, and depending on the location of your bathroom, Depends are good to wear, especially when you have a major incision. It won't put as much pressure on your incision. Blue pads, for those of you who are bleeding, you don't want to mess up your furniture, your recliner or your bed. So it's best to put some type of plastic or some blue pads down. The silicone strips are a lifesaver, you guys. The gel silicone strips, you put them over your incisions. They help to lighten and make the appearance of the incision better. Dial soap, that's what you want to wash with, the antibacterial soap. I also had a walker. And you need a walker because when you have a muscle repair and you have a tummy tuck where they done cut off a certain section of your stomach, your top skin of your stomach, you're going to be bent over. And you're going to need something to aid you in walking around to make sure that you don't get any blood clots. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a walker. White cloths, face towels and body towels. You don't want to use anything to wash or dry your body off that could possibly bleed, dye. So I only use white towels when I take a bath, when I washed up, or whatever I did. Make sure you have those available. Once again, I did buy the Hibble that was before surgery. You want to buy the abdominal board, which help aids in holding your stomach, because I couldn't even cough, you guys. When you have that muscle repair, it is tight. If you cough, it's like you're gonna pass out. So make sure you have your abdominal board. Make sure you wear they encourage you to wear your faja or your garments at least 23 hours out of the day when you're not washing them. And I encourage you to have more than one faja. I also had a pulse oximeter to check my pulse. I had a blood pressure cuff to make sure my blood pressure wasn't sky high, because you know anytime you have any type of trauma or surgery or any type of pain, it will run your blood pressure up. I had a thermometer to check if I had any type of temperature, because a temperature is a sign of an infection. If your temperature rise up. Compression socks. I got some carbon, some type of compression socks. They was black and gold. They was really good, and I still wear them sometimes. Make sure you wear those compression socks 24 hours a day. That helps keep down blood clots, you guys. So you're going to need some compression socks. And we talked about the faja. You're going to need a robe. And if you want to be petty, get you a bell. I did buy a bell, so ring. Tell somebody to come and help you, because when you have a muscle repair and you know your diaphragm, all that stuff is compressed. And for you to holler, it hurts. So if you have to, get you a little bell. Make sure you get your medical medication that the doctor is going to give you ahead of time, because when you get home, you're going to be in a lot of pain. You want to go ahead and start getting that medicine in your system. And you don't want to wait till the pain starts to start taking your medicine. You want to, for a few days, stay on top of your meds, because when you're in a lot of pain, that does not promote healing. The less pain you in helps promote healing. The more you walk help promote healing. The lymphatic massages help promote healing. So I really came on here to share my story. Like I said, I don't want to be the type of person people think that I done worked out and I done did all of this and got this body, and I done had 3 kids. I had 3 C-sections, you guys. And I had some loose skin that hanged downward. One of my babies was extremely big. And anytime you have children, it tends to separate your muscles in your stomach. So my muscles were really separated. So no matter what type of exercise I did, that was not going to make my stomach look any better. The only thing that I could do was have that repaired, and that's what I did. I know some people, insurance do pay for cosmetic surgery. So check with your insurance company if you're interested in having any type of surgery. I know my insurance company did not pay for my surgery. So it was an out-of-pocket expense because they considered it a cosmetic procedure, not a necessary procedure. Make sure that you're doing your research. And once again, to get the best adequate care, look in your local area for the best plastic surgeons. Miami is not the only place that have good surgeons. You may pay a little extra money, but you will have a peace of mind, and it will aid in your recovery, and you won't be just another number. Dr. Mansoon took excellent care of me, and if I was to ever have any type of procedure in the future, if he's still working, he will be my go-to doctor. So if you're in the Jackson metro area and you're looking to have any type of plastic surgery, look up Dr. Mansoon. I will insert a picture of him in his blog as well. His bedside manner was impeccable. He made sure that I had the best recovery ever, and he did not release me until he was satisfied. If I would have went to Mills Surgical Center, I would have come home after 5 or 6 or 7 days, and I wouldn't have been able to go back to the doctor to get the proper care that I needed. And so that is a must in any type of procedure. You know, women go home and stuff happen, blood clots, whatever. Any type of procedure, whether it's a cosmetic or a medical procedure, you have to have the proper follow-up care. That's very important. Your research is very important. Your health, you have to advocate for yourself and what you want. And if you're paying for it out of pocket, you want the best. You want to spend your money on and get what you pay for. Now, if you want to take a cheap way out and they throwing these specials and they're doing all this, remember that you may be a part of that assembly line that I talked about earlier. And let's keep this conversation going. Place your comments or any inquiries in the comment section below. And if I need to do a follow-up, if you have any questions, just let me know down below. But throughout this video, I have posted little pictures. I had to be modest with what I posted because I didn't want to break into YouTube guidelines. But I will show you guys how I look now and how I maintain my surgery, because I didn't spend $17,000 to think that the surgery was end all be all. I knew that maintenance did need to happen after surgery to maintain what the doctor had done. So I will insert some pictures of how I look now. And I won't say that because of my age, my weight don't fluctuate sometimes, but I try to keep it in check. You gotta keep it in check or your results will be ruined. And you'll see yourself going back and having the same type of procedure over and over again. And like I said, I didn't want to lie to anybody. I wanted to be truthful that I did have some cosmetic surgery done, and I did work out, and I do things to maintain my physique as it is now. And I didn't do this for approval for nobody but myself, to make me feel good about myself. And I encourage people, forget the naysayers, but make sure that you're going in this with good intentions. Make sure your health is up to par. If you having heart problems or you having some major issues, this surgery may not be for you. But I will not sit here and say I wouldn't have surgery, because I have had surgery and I did it for myself. As of the day of this video, this is what I look like, you guys, with the results that I'm still maintaining for my surgery. So I decided to put this on because I didn't want to show too much, but I want you to really get a good look at how I look now. So you can see that Dr. Manny did a great job. My stomach is really flat. My sides are proportionate. My breasts are up in there, not as big like I want them. And I can go without a bra if I wanted to, but for the sake of this video, in a draft, I didn't want any unnecessary other things showing, so I did put some pads in to cover. But this is me maintaining my results after almost 4 years of surgery. Thanks for watching if you got to the end of this video. Until next time, bye guys.